Hello and welcome back to the podcast that knows all of the rules to survive a horror movie. Welcome back to the best part of your week. Welcome back to another episode of Love, Death and Movies, Internet's #1 film breakdown and review show. The show that crushes watch lists week after week. Every month is a different genre. Every week is a different film in that genre. So follow us on everything. Join us on the ride and let's watch some movies. This week, the notorious Byron is back in lieu of Ash, of course. Ash, we send you our love. We hope you're recovering better. Everyone that's watching this, just go send Ash a fucking positive message. Just go say, hey, how you doing? And go say that you like Nightmare on Elm Street or some shit. Look up any movie that she likes and then just go talk to her about it. She'd love that. But notorious Byron, it's been some months. How are you? It's good to see your face.
I'm good. I'm good. There were a few episodes, and I think it was like an eight episode span. Yeah, every episode. I just miss Byron.
I just miss him. I just miss Byron.
No, I'm good. I've been good. I'm gonna put that in quotations. But yeah, no, I'm good. I'm glad to be back for the first time in 3 months.
Sometime.
Yeah, it's a few days. But yeah, no, I've been good. Been glad to be back and talking. Oh, what a wonderful movie!
Absolutely, yeah. But like you've been gone with the camera, but you've still been there like behind the camera as well. So you're still like producing a lot of the stuff for us as well, which is awesome. So yeah, yeah. But no, you're very much a hand of why this show looks amazing. So yeah, you're a killer. But fuck yeah, I think it's the kind of the perfect month for you to kind of come back as well because we just finished our month of Nicolas Cage films, which I know you're devastated to miss. Which absolutely devastated. He just keeps messaging me, being like, more Nicolas Cage. But we're doing the month of October, which is going to be our month of pure slasher films, like, October, Spooktober, whatever you want to call it. But we're going to specifically, instead of just doing horror, we're going to specifically do slasher movies, which is going to be a lot of fun. I should have everything in front of me, but I never really do. In terms of the movies that we're going to be watching this week, do you even know the full slate that we're watching this week, Byron? This month, sorry?
Don't think I could give you the order.
Yep.
But I believe how many weeks are in?
We got 5. So we mixed it up a bit last week. If you are thinking about an old list, so
So we've got Scream, Black Christmas, A Nightmare on Elm Street.
We're ending the month of October with The Nightmare on Elm Street, and then we added 2 new ones last week.
We have
a movie that you love
You're Next.
You're Next, yes.
And I don't know.
Bride of Chucky. We're doing Bride of Chucky.
I knew it was a franchise movie.
So we had Pat on during our Face Off episode. By the way, Pat, fucking stunning man. Just a handsome bloke. Inside and out. And he's saying that he loves Bride of Chucky. So fuck, let's just add that onto the list because I don't think I've seen Bride of Chucky.
It's the best one.
Yeah, I think I have. I'm not sure, but I might have when I was smaller, but I haven't seen it in ages. So yeah, the whole month of October we're doing slashes. So we're gonna go Scream to Black Christmas to You're Next to Bride of Chucky to Nightmare on Elm Street. A good mixture of everything, which kind of we wanted to do, which is awesome. But today we're talking about Scream, directed by the one, the only, the great. Rest in peace, Wes Craven in 1996, also known universally as the greatest horror movie of all time, which is great. The budget was $15 million. Box office, can you guess? From a budget of 15 mil.
What are you, Tyler?
I wish. Tyler's a much better looking guy than me.
He gave me multiple. I bet I could pick the right one.
All right, multiple choice. I'll go 163, 173, 183.
83.
Incorrect, you're wrong. $173 million, which is unreal for a mid-90s horror film. That's pretty goddamn great. Quick synopsis: someone has taken their love of scary movies one step too far. Solving this mystery is going to be murder. A year after the murder of her mother, a teenage girl is terrorized by a masked killer who targets her and her friends by using scary movies as part of a deadly game. So, Byron, before we get into the nuts and bolts of this film from the start to the end, what's your both quick review of Scream, but also your history of Scream? When did you first watch Scream? Because we both love the Scream franchise.
Yeah. Even though this movie was only released in 96, Still, it's still older than
That's
me.
way older than you. Yeah, yeah.
Very, yeah. Oh, although this is coming on 30 years old, by the way,
I know. I turned
which is
30
kind
this
of
year.
crazy to think
I
about.
turned 30 next
You're,
week.
you're welcome for me reminding you.
Yeah, thank
Uh,
you. Thank you.
it's crazy to think that this movie is almost 30 years old
Crazy. And it still lives
because,
up.
oh, bro, it's still one of the best.
Nah.
I think I think some people might think I hate this movie because of how much I give it shit.
No, you give it 4.5. Oh,
Like, sure, it's predictable, but like, I'll trash on like moments here and there. But like, I mean, you said it was the greatest, and I was shaking my head. People probably think I give it like a 3.
no.
No, I rate this movie very highly. It's inside my top 15 horror movies ever.
Yeah.
Just don't think it's number one. But I love this movie. I think first time I watched it, mid 2000s,
Hell yeah.
2007 ish, maybe probably towards the late 2000s. Because I was into horror pretty fast. I mean, I remember watching The Grudge when I was
Oh, the like the remake?
seven,
The
7 years
West,
old. I don't know.
the American one. Not the Japanese one?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, the American one.
yeah. Yeah.
I
That
remember watching that when I was like 7.
the Japanese or South
So
Korean?
so like it terrified me. But yeah, I started getting into horror, and then Scream was always one of those movies that was always talked about because it's a movie that
Japanese.
didn't make the subgenre, but it reinvented the subgenre because you had the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the early 70s. That was a big launching point. You had Psycho before that. Those are the two big ones, in my opinion. They kind of died down a little bit. Scream was the movie that threw slashes straight back up the charts because you had movies like I Know What You Did Last Summer and those kinds of movies that are literally based off of Scream. Like the influence is clearly there.
Yeah.
So Scream is hands down, I think, one of the most important horrors in the last 30 years. It's just a good fucking movie. It doesn't matter how many times I watch it. It's always like just as fun as it was beforehand. I think I've logged this on Letterboxd like 6 or 7 times. I've
Yeah,
probably
I'm the
seen it
same. This
close
might
to
be my
12.
most logged
You know,
letterbox movie for sure.
it'll probably never be my number one. Maybe horror. Maybe horror.
Maybe horror. Yeah, you got
Nothing,
Batman
nothing,
so many
nothing
times,
touches
don't you?
Batman. Batman's at.
Yeah.
I think I've seen Batman 16 times. Suck it, George Carmy. Um, but yeah, Scream's great. I love Scream.
Hell yeah. Nice. Yeah, I agree with everything you say. I think this is for me, this is the greatest. Like, I think that this is the greatest for so many reasons. I've got it tattooed on me. If I can see it in the camera. Bam! There he is. Fucking love him. It's so great. I love this movie. The self-aware humor, it kind of just like degrades the entire horror genre on its own because you said it, man. Like it came at a time where the horror genre was stagnating. It was kind of like in absolute limbo, and Scream was an absolute fresh ingredient to the pot that it like kind of overturned all the formulaic nature of all the horror movies that were coming out that people were just tired of. From that, like the nostalgia of horror fans, like there's just so many beloved references to all these classic films, from The Exorcist to Halloween. They use all the the elements in those films and kind of just play on that. The marketing of this film can't be underplayed. It's incredible, like how they used the face of fucking Drew Barrymore as the poster. They told everyone that she's the lead, and then when because Drew was supposed to be Sydney, and she read the script and goes up to Wes and goes, "Make me Casey, like kill me off in the first," and like that was genius. Like she was at one of the heights of her career during the mid-90s. Drew Barrymore, everyone loved her, and just to kill her off in the beginning of the film, you're like, holy shit, no one's safe, which is awesome. Speaking of the beginning of the film, one of the most iconic opening scenes of all time. We'll get through exactly what happens in it, but it's one of the most iconic films of all time, openings of all time, especially in the horror genre. I can't even think of another horror film that has as good of an opening as this. Like, there's some brilliant openings, but ones that like have standed the test of time, like I don't think there can be.
I think it's up there with Jaws.
Yeah, Jaws, absolutely, absolutely.
Alien.
Yep. Absolutely.
Those might be the only two examples I can come up with off the
Couple
top of
of
my head, honestly.
couple of fucking masterpieces though, right? Like it
Absolutely.
stands along the side with Giants. But it also, like, after this film, it had just such a huge potential for a franchise, which I strongly think is the best horror franchise. I love Evil Dead. Evil Dead's a super close second for me. I know that you're gonna jump in Evil Dead.
Just swap
Hey,
that
Evil
over.
Dead Rise. Evil Dead Rise is my favorite Evil Dead film now. I've watched it 4 times. Fucking love it.
Wow.
I know. I know.
Nice. I like that.
It's my favorite horror movie of that year, which was like what, 2022, 2023. It wasn't
Three,
last year.
three,
Was it
I
three?
think.
Was it last year?
Okay.
I don't
Eight?
know.
I don't know.
Post COVID, every year's the fucking same. So it's just jumbled up in post COVID. But whatever the
Literally.
year that was, it was my favorite horror film. I remember it was last year because we did it. It was included on the awards that we
Yes.
did. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. I
it
remember.
was. Yeah, it was last year.
Yeah.
But the consistency of this fucking franchise is unbelievable. The people always fight about which one's best, and I'm just like, oh, to me, there's not a bad one. Well, one will never be topped. There was a lot. Do you remember when Scream? Okay. Do you remember when Scream
Yeah.
6 was being reviewed?
Let's rant about this.
Scream 6 was being reviewed, and there was so many people online being like, "Oh, it's just so much better than the first one." No, it's not. It's just
Guys,
like it's
Guys,
just
it's
not.
not close.
It's nowhere
I'm
close.
sorry.
It's a
It's not.
great movie. It's great. It's like a mid-ish 4 out of 5. Is
Yeah.
Scream 6. Great movie. Fucking
Compare the ratings. It's like if you compare a 4 to a 4.5, like yeah, sure that looks close.
yeah.
It's not.
It's not. It's a giant jump. Giant jump. Yeah, no. Like, it very much can't stand the test of time compared to the likes
Great
of
movie, very flawed.
Absolutely. But yeah, I adore this film. I think this movie's fucking fantastic, and it gets better every fucking watch. To be honest, it is clawing up its way to my number one movie of all time. Like,
Wow.
I know I probably should have saved that to the end, but it is clawing its fucking way.
What's
12
number one? Is it
12
Angry
Angry Men,
Men?
and
Matrix.
what made the second was The Matrix after the recent rewatch. I watched Matrix in cinemas, which I'm seeing Scream in cinemas next month.
Awesome.
Yeah, which I got
That'd be
tickets to.
cool.
Should be sweet. I've seen it in cinemas once before. It's brilliant, but like it is clawing its fucking way. But let's get into the story. All right, so I've got it all as like one big thing. So I'm going to stop
Yeah.
periodically, but if you want to add anything, just scream out. Just barge on through, which is sweet.
Get it?
Yeah, scream. Casey Becker, home alone, answers a ringing phone. The man on the other end says that he must have dialed the wrong number and hangs up. Soon after he calls again, multiple flirtatious comments asking about her boyfriend, etc., etc. At first, Casey plays along, but as soon as the man starts threatening and sadistic comments, from there, he goes on to reveal that her boyfriend is tied up on the back patio. Oh no, Steve. He wouldn't be named Steve, would he? Which is hilarious because that is the most generic high school white boy name. Majority of their boyfriends are probably named Steve or like Eric.
Yeah. Yeah. That's my middle name.
Yeah, knew it. There it is. Now in control, the caller turns the situation into an extreme horror trivia contest, which I can be confident me and Byron would pass. Like, no one's getting killed. No one's getting killed.
Easy.
No one's getting
Easy.
killed. If Casey answers the trivia questions right, she and her boyfriend Steven get to live. But if she fails to answer correctly, they die. As a starter, she answers the warm-up question correctly, not impress the caller, then asks a trick question of who is the killer in Friday the 13th. Casey quickly answers that it's Jason Voorhees, only to be proven wrong that it was actually Jason's mama, Pamela Voorhees, who was the... Although in the end of the film...
There is a line in this movie that says, wrong, Jason doesn't turn up until the sequel. No, you're fucking wrong.
Yeah.
He's in the goddamn movie.
He's at the end.
He's at the end.
Yes.
He jumps out of the lake and takes the girl on the boat.
Amen.
Shit, you milf.
Exactly. The caller then tells Casey that she's earned a bonus question, but she's just ended her boyfriend's life. Light goes off, light goes on. Ciao, Steve. It's nice knowing ya. A shocked Casey then hurries onto the patio lights and finds that Steve has been disemboweled. Lol. Fun fact here. At around 12 minutes at the beginning of the movie, when Casey's parents come home, spoilers for what we're about to talk about, to find that something's wrong, her father tells her mother to go to the Mackenzies, which is the same thing that Laurie told Lindsay and Tommy to do in Halloween. So that's one of the little many references that they have throughout this whole film. So the caller promises Casey another round, but Casey instead refuses to answer the question. Chair smashes through the window, and all hell breaks loose. A lot of cat and mouse chasing around it. So meanwhile, as Casey's parents return home, they receive, I skipped forward. With a 1 ounce of strength, Casey takes off, she gets tackled and she takes off the killer's mask, sees the face, boom, knife comes down, killer basically kills her, and she's getting dragged to an area. Meanwhile, as Casey's parents return home, they receive the daughter's panicked phone call, only to hear her muffled moans on the other end, which is horrifying. It's terrifying. Instructing his wife to go to the neighbor's house, Casey's father is guides her outside by the frantic screaming, and only to see Casey hanging from a tree. Title scroll, Scream. Unreal. What a fucking opening. I fucking love this opening. It's so damn good. So the movie cuts to Sydney Prescott. Holy smokes. She gets added to the smoke show list. Who's attempting to cope with the anniversary of her mother's, can't say that word on here, and murder. The following night, while at home alone, the killer invades her house and attempts to kill her. After a short but intense struggle, the killer disappears. Then Billy, her boyfriend, suddenly appears through Sydney's bedroom window. At first, Sydney is relieved to see Billy, but after a cell phone falls out of his pocket, which is hilarious, she's tempted to believe that he's the one that called her and attacked her. She runs downstairs, opens the front door, only to find Dewey, the sheriff's deputy. Quote, "Do you like scary movies? What's the point? They're all the same. Some stupid killer stalking some big-breasted girl who can't act, who's running up the stairs when she should be going out the front door. It's insulting." And then when it starts running, she goes to the door and it's locked, so she runs upstairs. It's kind of great. It's good.
Yep.
I'm going to be skipping through a bunch of these. At one point, I like to that always sticks out to me of when she gets off the school bus and you see her house. Holy shit, the housing market then was spectacular. Like that place is that's like a Airbnb that's like 10 grand a night. That's fucked. It's nuts.
Well, the last name Prescott, it just sounds rich.
Yeah, it does sound rich. It does sound rich. But then, like, he's like a traveling salesman or something. Her dad. It's like something like that. That's like why he's going out of town. So Dewey then has Billy arrested, and they all head to the police station. Sydney tries to sort through the trauma of being attacked and the reaction to the circumstantial evidence. Unwillingly points the finger to Billy, her boyfriend, Billy Loomis. Again, Loomis, another Halloween reference by Dr. Loomis, Dr. Sam Loomis.
There's a third too.
Is there?
There is a third Loomis in horror, in slasher horror. The movie is escaping me.
Yeah, there is.
I remember this because it was a trivia question.
Is it Psycho?
Ash, yes, it was Psycho. There are 3 Loomises in slasher horror movies.
Thought it was Psycho. Yes. Yeah. He's the
3 Loomises.
That's right. I fucking know that. Everyone that fucking says that I cheat on fucking trivia, go fuck yourself. I know that shit. Which is great. So yeah, she decides to stay at home with her friend Tatum Riley, which we understand why. While under the watchful eye of Tatum's brother Dwight, nicknamed Dewey, the sheriff's deputy, who just becomes just such a beloved character of this fucking franchise. While there, she again receives a phone call from the killer, who tells her that she made a grave mistake by thinking Billy Loomis was the killer. Oh no, he's not the killer. He ends their conversation by saying that she'll find out who the real killer is soon enough. Already under considerable stress, Sydney is forced to deal with the scandalization of her own attack with ambitious tabloid television newswoman Gail Weathers, another beloved character, played by Courtney Cox. Did you know that Courtney Cox, I'm not sure if I have this in here, might do, probably don't. Courtney Cox requested to be cast as Gail Weathers because she wanted to, quote unquote, this is her saying it, she wanted to play a bitch because she was kind of
successful.
Yeah, she was kind of typecast to be like that really nice friend out of Friends.
Yeah, so she's horrible. Yeah,
she's terrible.
Every time she speaks, I wanted to be in Sydney's place and then just.
Yeah,
not literally, guys. Don't.
Yeah,
please don't.
No. Clip that. Get him. Clip that.
Pin me for assault.
Exactly. Clip that. So Gail Weathers, who's an author of the tell-all book revealing the promiscuous affair between Sydney's mother and her convicted killer, Cotton Weary, who we don't meet this film. School is soon cancelled by precautionary measure, leaving the building temporarily abandoned. The school principal is then killed. Also, shout out Henry Winkler. Henry fucking Winkler as the school principal? Hell yes, what casting. The school principal is then killed while still inside the school when he was distracted. So I'll stop there. Anything kind of like point out to you the start of this film? What I really like is that it turns less from like a normal slasher film into more of like a mystery of like it's like a whodunit sort of thing.
Yeah.
When like a
That's-
normal slasher is like we're running away from Chucky, we're running away from Jason or Michael. We know who the killer is. This is like, hey, it could be anyone. It's like Scooby Doo in a way. It's like an adult Scooby Doo film.
Correct.
Yeah, which I kind
Actually,
of
there's a weird connection there because I compared this movie to I Know What You Did Last Summer, and if you've seen that movie, you would know that the Freddie Prinze Jr. and I forgot her name, but Fred and Daphne are both in that movie, and it's literally Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
Is Daphne and Freddy trying to solve a mystery? But this is what I mean about Scream reinventing the slasher genre because they weren't mysteries before. Scream was the first big movie to do a mystery of a who done it, and now we see movies like I Know What You Did Last Summer and Thanksgiving and all these other kinds of movies. This is what I mean because like the influence is crazy, and I think is purely why this franchise took off in the way it did. And it's also a comedy.
Yeah.
You know? It's self-aware, it's comedically pretty dumb. But the mystery is like it's still there. Like people don't take away the mystery part because it's comedic. Like it's still like really thrilling, especially if you watch it for the first time. It's crazy.
Absolutely. The actress you're thinking of is Sarah Michelle Gellar. Is out of I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. But like that's what I fucking love. But yeah, where would you rank this really damn high in terms of the openings of horrors or film?
I mean,
it's one of the best.
The only opening scenes I can compare it to in terms of like ghost status is Alien and Jaws.
Yeah,
it's like two of my favorite horror movies ever. Alien being just the best fucking movie ever made. So yeah, it's an all timer. Not even just horror. It's an all timer. Regardless,
I fuck with that.
It's amazing.
That I love that so much. Also, could you not you couldn't cast a more obviously guilty guy than the guy that they got for Billy Loomis? Like, holy shit, the guy just looks so sketchy. Like, fuck, what's his name?
It's the fucking haircut. That's what it is. It's the goddamn hair, and they have just the two little bits of hair, like wet hair, just like right by their eyes. It's the haircut.
It is the haircut. It is, and I work with Skeet Ulrich. I knew his first name. He very much just looks immediately evil, which is kind of like a good thing because at first he's used as a red herring, and then like spoilers for the end of the film, it's kind of like doubled back on the red herring, which is one of the genius parts of this story. I think is.
Although, when I say I give this movie shit, this is one of the ones I give it shit for. Not that it's necessarily a flaw. I think Scream is one of the most predictable horror movies ever made, which can be a flaw sometimes, but in this one it works.
But did you see that? In terms of like Billy being the killer,
yeah.
But then it doubles down by them being two killers. Like the fact that there was two killers is like revolutionary. No one saw two killers.
But still.
So good. Anyway, meanwhile, in the local video store, Stu and Randy Meeks, by the way, Randy unreal, Stu god tier as well. We love this is what makes this is what makes this film way better than any of the other films. Is all the cast members here, every character fucking rules.
Scream's probably done it the best.
Yeah,
there's a lot of slashers. You have the main final girl and the villain.
Yeah,
maybe one side character.
But here you're like you're rooting for Randy. Everyone loves the killers, Stu and Billy. Like
I mean, you have the whole friend group. You have Ghostface, and then you have all these you have Gale Weathers, like these side characters. It's just like it's crazy how good Scream was able to do character management. Yeah, because they did a flawless job with them.
Yeah, shout out to Kevin Williamson, the writer of this film.
It's a shame a lot of them are dead now.
Yeah.
Not IRL.
Yeah, actual characters, actually. Well, we don't know. Like Stu again, like a TV fell on his head. Like, who cares?
Yeah, Scream 7 may be the only reason to get people into the cinema for that movie.
Yeah, Jesus. Meanwhile, in the local video store, Stu and Randy are discussing the killer's identity, with Randy openly stating that Billy could be the killer, albeit having a stupid motive. with wanting to kill his girlfriend. Stu agrees, as Randy then continues saying, in theory, everyone's a suspect. I love this. Right after, Billy comes over and shuts up the startled Randy by pointing out that Randy could have also been the killer due to his intricate horror film knowledge. So fun fact here, Matthew Lillard was cast as Stu by chance after accompanying his then girlfriend to an unrelated audition taking place elsewhere in the same building. Casting director Lisa Beach saw Lillard in the hallway, asked him to audition for the part, and he got the role with extreme ferocity. Whatever that means. Later that night, everyone begins to show up to the party that Stu has suggested to hold in honor of getting out of school so early. At first, the party is fine as Sydney and Tatum show up, but soon after, so do Dewey and Gail. Which shout out here, I haven't put in the notes. Shout out to Kenny, the cameraman. Kenny the cameraman's like the goat in this. He does he allows a couple little things, like the little camera thing that he puts the camera in the house, but there's the 30-second delay, which is as soon as you're like, oh, it's a 30-second delay, you're like, oh, I wonder where we're gonna use this. Like every single time, it's like little things in horror movies. I love it. But yeah, the party soon starts to turn for the worse after Tatum goes down to the garage to get a beer, only to be cornered by the killer, who slashes her left arm as she attempts to escape, spotting an opportunity to get out through the pet flap in an automatic garage door. She tries to escape, but the killer stops by turning the door on, sending it upwards and crushing her neck. I'd love to see how much the sales went down of automatic garage doors after this movie came out. I'd love to see that. I want to see those stats.
I like Ghostface's expression during that kill, because he's just like, huh, I don't think it would work.
You want me to play the role of the helpless victim?
That's such a scary movie kind of moment.
It is.
Just doing the comedic.
Yeah. It's so good. Yeah, it's so good. Meanwhile, Gail and Kenny, rest in peace, watch the video from the videotape she hid inside, sensing the potential for a major scoop. However, they're children. Why are you videotaping children? Like, they're high school kids.
I was about to say, how old are all these people?
They're high school
17,
kids.
18?
Yeah. However, due to the distance from the house to the van, which is only like 20 meters, the video is experiencing a 30-second delay. She then exits the van and is joined by Deputy Dewey. So fun fact here, the party scene near the end of the film runs for 42 minutes. It was shot over the course of 21 days from the time that the sun set to the time that the sun rose. So they just did night shoots for 21 days straight. That would have been a fucking nightmare to shoot. After it wrapped, the crew had T-shirts that read, "I survived scene 118," which was this whole scene, which was named of the scene during the shooting. The cast and crew jokingly said it was the longest night in horror history, which probably was. So back at the party, Sydney tries to find Tatum. Billy shows up at the party, and the two of them go upstairs to reconvene. The partygoers soon receive word of the principal's death and head to the school's football field to gaze upon his corpse, because those kids are going to be proper fucked up after that.
Yeah, why dude, 2 seconds went by before they're like, let's go
let's go see this guy hanging.
Let's go find our teacher.
Let's go catch a glimpse of this warlock.
So fucked up.
So leaving a select few, including Sydney and Randy, alone in the house. But this is also the time just before this that we get the incredible quotes from Randy of the rules of surviving a horror movie. Now I've got them here. So there are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie. For instance, number 1, you can never have sex. Crowd boos. Big no-no. Sex equals death, okay? Number 2, you can never drink or do drugs. Sin factor, it's a sin. It's an extension of number 1. And number 3, never, ever, under any circumstance, say, I'll be right back. Because you won't be back. And Stu goes, I'm getting another beer. You want one? Yeah, sure. I'll be right back.
I fucking love it. Like, Matthew Lillard did such a great job of this. Although, and I think about this all the time, how fucking concerning. Somebody watched this goddamn movie and saw him playing this real wacky,
Shaggy,
eccentric character, and they're like, he's perfect for Shaggy fucking Rogers, one of the most beloved characters in childhood TV.
Matthew, your grade's a killer. Do you like dogs?
Why was that? I mean, Matthew Lillard, don't get me wrong, perfect casting for Shaggy, but that's a concerning casting because Matthew Lillard, I don't imagine was in that much stuff.
No, probably not.
Even since Scream, I can't even tell you like that much stuff he's been in.
Friday, Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A great movie, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of concerning. They watch Scream and they're like, he's perfect for a Scooby Doo live action movie.
Very true, man. It's very true.
But he nailed both of them, so fuck, what do I know?
Oh man, but like you're right though. Like, but like that's the these little casting points are so damn good, so damn good. Everyone's perfectly cast. But yeah, then Randy's like, see you push the laws and you end up dead. Okay, I'll see you in the kitchen with a knife. And later on,
Yep.
which is great.
Yeah, that rang true.
So outside, Dewey and Gale narrowly escape certain death as they evade partygoers, which this is probably one of the most shocking moments, because no matter what happens tonight, all those kids are going to jail. Like, they're going to jail. They almost killed a cop. Like,
Yeah. Even Dewey, even like all the looks on their faces. You know, he comes in, when Dewey walks in the door and he's just like, "You're underage." He's like, just fucking messing with
yeah, I
me."
love him. He's great. It's good fun. Yeah, as they evade the partygoers, speeding car on their way to the school's football field to go look at a dead body. Having landed below Gale, Dewey kisses her because I guess that's the moment. Upstairs, after having some alone time, Sydney watches in horror as Billy is stabbed to death, maybe, by the killer, forcing her to run out of the room to escape. Again, this is another show of how enormous this fucking house is. Which, fun fact, you can rent this house on Airbnb. You can go stay.
I did know this. Yes.
Yeah, that's really cool. They did like a marketing promotion during the latest
That'd be cool.
release of the latest Scream, yeah, which is cool. She attempts to climb out the window, but is forced by the killer, pushing her out in an attempt to maim or kill her. She lands on a covered boat and recovers only to discover her best friend Tatum's body is wedged in that pet door again. Lol. She held her mouth in disbelief and descended down the driveway. Randy, still watching TV, narrowly avoids death when the killer walks up behind him, only to be interrupted by Sydney screams, who has just found Tatum's body. Given pursuit, the killer leaves Randy unnoticed. Inside Gail's van, however, her cameraman Kenny allows Sydney inside. With the camera delay, Kenny and Sydney now witness the killer's attempt on Randy, trying to warn him, but Kenny steps outside, throat is slit by the killer.
Just saying, even 30 seconds, like, is a decent amount of time to run, like, the 20 meters from the front door to the van that's just parked on the main road. Ghostface is one of the clumsiest, dumbest characters in horror when it comes to like obviously like one of the villains, one of the stupidest villains of all time. There's no way he didn't trip.
Yeah, and like, you could hear him. Like, you could hear him.
He wouldn't have made it. He wouldn't have made it in 30 seconds. Like, he'd need at least 45.
Yeah, absolutely. Unless you're the Notorious, then you clear that in 12 seconds flat.
I'm bolting that.
Yeah, you
Actually,
clear
no,
that.
I wouldn't even run. It's fucking Ghostface.
Yeah. You just trip him. Gale and Dewey, after discovered the car that belongs to Neil Prescott, return to the house. They believe Neil is the killer and has come to the party to continue his spree. Both attacked after having spread out. Gale attempts to leave the scene in her van, but finds the dead body of Kenny on top of the car and drives off-road and crashes to avoid hitting Sydney. Everyone's terrible at driving. Dewey went inside the house, is now seen coming out, falling over with a knife in his back. Rest in peace, Dewey. We'll see. Running back inside, Sydney finds Randy and Stu, who are presented to be the only suspects. When they both accuse each other of being the killer, Sydney doesn't know who to trust, so slams the door in their face. I love this. It's not like a pick. It's like, you guys sort it out. Just slam the door. Just sort it out.
It's just like, whichever one of you, when I come back, whichever one of you aren't dead.
Yeah. I'm gonna kill them. Yeah, I'm gonna kill them. I'm gonna kill you. Either way, you're both dead. Like, elimination. I would have
even though realistically, these are both her friends. These are like, they're both friends.
Yeah.
She's like, fuck it, one of you is gonna die.
I would just pop each in the leg. Pop. You're like, both maimed. You're both gonna be okay. Cops are coming now, though. Yeah. You're both gonna be questioned. Which is great. Yeah. So a seriously injured Billy then reappears. Thank God he's alive. He's handsome. Falling down the stairs, Sydney helps him and gives him the gun for safety. Billy then opens the door and allows Randy back in, who states Stu has gone mad. And then I love this. Billy, still holding the gun, responds, "We all go a little mad sometimes," and then shoots Randy in the shoulder, who falls to the floor. A shocked Sydney is then shown that Billy's bloody wound. Sorry, I wrote this terribly. Bloody wound is in fact corn syrup, a common horror movie practice for the blood. When Sydney suddenly turns to find Stu, who's revealed that he has the voice changer box. So, Sydney. So finally, the truth is revealed. This is it. The murders were planned and carried out by both Billy and Stu as a means to getting revenge for Sydney's mother. Billy informed Sydney that her mother had an affair with his father, Hank Loomis, and this was the reason for the demise of Billy's parents' marriage. Dude, just fucking go to counseling. Just have a therapy session, you fucking weak boy. And then goes on to state that he is the one that murdered Sydney's mother, and not Cotton Weary, who was convicted of the murder based upon Sydney's testimony. It turns out that Billy's rage over his parents splitting up because of the affair with Sydney's mother turned him into a murderer. Again, you fucking lowlife. Stu and Billy, also Billy, like Stu's just like, I'm just along for the ride. Billy's,
he seems oddly like at ease with it.
Yeah, exactly. So Stu and Billy also revealed that they have abducted Sydney's father and his cell phone that they were making the anonymous calls from, and that they plan to murder Sydney and his father by shooting them in the head and making it look like they committed suicide, making it look like if he committed suicide after committing murders. So Stu and Billy then stab each other, which is hilarious. Oh, you think you got me too deep, man? Each other in non-vital places, but it kind of to make it seem like they're victims of Mr. Prescott's emotional and murderous breakdown while getting away with committing murders. Thus, things begin to fall apart. As Billy stabs Stu too deeply, he begins to bleed out profusely. Thank you. Then Gale appears and distracts them both. Sydney then manages to escape while dealing with Gale. After Stu and Billy deal with Gale, Sydney stabs Billy with an umbrella, which that looked like it hurt like shit.
Oh yeah, it would.
In the shoulder? Fucking Christ. Who then falls on the floor seemingly dead. You don't get killed by umbrellas. Stu then...
from the Kingsman.
It's true. That's true. Stu then reappears trying to fight Sydney before she pushes a television set onto his head. Lol. Ciao. As Sydney is checking to see if Billy's dead, Randy reveals that he's injured and still alive, crediting it to the fact that he's still a virgin. Lol. Also injured but still alive, Billy gets up and punches Randy to the floor. He begins to choke Sydney to death, trying to stab her as well before being shot by Gale. Randy, now back to his feet, warns Sydney and Gale that according to horror movie lore, he'll come back to life for one last scare. To their surprise, Billy opens his eyes, makes a grunt, only to be shot in the head by Sydney after finally killing him. Sydney's father comes out of the closet, and then comes out of the actual closet, to the commotion. Sydney unties him and Randy assists her. So Dewey, who also appeared to have been killed, is then carried away in a gurney, so he's totally fine. Kenny's definitely dead though, sorry. And Gale then makes an impromptu report of events of the previous night as the authorities begin to arrive on the crime scene and the movie comes to a close. That is Scream, one of the greatest movies of all time. Holy shit, I love this fucking movie. So, Byron, after I've gone through that all, what's your final opinion of Scream? Anything else to add in those big final scenes, and give me your final score?
So one thing that's throughout this entire movie is references to already established movies. When Billy Loomis is talking about, like, he's just like, "Oh, it's pig. This is pig's blood." Syrup. It's
corn syrup.
Corn syrup. Yeah, that was. He gave a shout out to the movie Carrie from the 70s.
Yep.
Good fucking movie. Earlier, back in the school hallway, and when the teacher looks out the door, you see a janitor, and his name is Fred, and he is dressed like Freddy Krueger.
Do you know who the janitor is?
Wouldn't have a clue, bro.
It's Wes Craven.
Is it?
That's Wes Craven's
Honestly,
little cameo.
There's a lot of famous directors that I've just never actually seen.
Yeah, but that is Wes Craven being a little cameo in his movie as the character that he created, Freddy Krueger, which is cool.
Yeah. Freddy Krueger and Carrie both getting shout outs. Michael Myers also gets a shout out in this movie.
Yep.
I can't recall if Jason is mentioned. I would imagine so. In some way, shape, or form. There has to be, because I'm sure they got those the main set of characters. I'm sure Leatherface has a tiny reference towards him at some point too. But yeah, Wes Craven, he cooked. You know? And I hate that term like so much, but it's true
It's
for
true.
this instance. Wes Craven did such a good job of making this movie, um, even with all of his movies. You
Yeah.
know, whether it's this franchise or a Nightmare on Elm Street's franchise, he just understands horror, especially slasher horror.
Yeah.
He's one of the greatest horror directors ever.
Yeah.
Um, the movie's just, I wouldn't say it's not perfect. You know, there's tiny little flaws in here, but I don't think there's many horror movies out there that'll entertain you as much as this one will.
Agreed.
Scream. I mean, there's a reason it's still just as popular as it is 27 years after its fucking release. You know, it's beloved. It's probably one of the most universally beloved horror movies ever.
Yeah.
Maybe even number one. I love it. I'll probably watch it another, I don't know, 60 times in my lifespan. Unless I die tomorrow. But yeah, I love the movie. It is a 4.5 for me. It's a very high 4.5. I have given about 200 plus 4.5s. It is near the top of that ranking.
Yeah.
So this could be a 5 any day of the week.
Love that. Yeah, no, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's a 5 for me, obviously. I adore everything about this movie. From there's so many iconic scenes, so many iconic kills. The villain is just so awesomely iconic, but it's so malleable and so franchisable that you just put someone else under the mask. It's kind of easy, done. But as we touched on, like the characters, all of them are brilliant. Like all of them are so goddamn well, which is so sick.
Even fucking Kenny.
Even Kenny, rest in peace.
Kenny has like 2 scenes.
Rest in peace, Kenny. He also had a fucking brutal death, like brutal death.
Good death too.
But there's a good like little scene in the second one where he's like, "I know what happens to cameramen around here. I'm getting out of here." Like,
the second one's so self-aware too.
I love it. I love all of them, man. The second one's so
Yeah.
good. The second one's so goddamn good.
The second one is brilliant.
But yeah, I think that this movie's spectacular from start to finish. I think it knows exactly what it is, but in doing that, it's so intelligent and smart and quick-witted. All these references that you listed out, perfect. But like at the same time, it's just a massive satire on the formulaic nature that horror was at that time, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is a 5 out of 5. I think this is brilliant. That is our review for Scream. So next week, please watch the original Black Christmas from 1974? 1974.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, 1974. So Black Christmas, 1974. If it's not on a streaming service, it is on YouTube. That's where I watched it. So it's the whole movie on YouTube. It's 1080p as well. Looks pretty great. So I watched the entire film on YouTube, which is great.
It was a good ass movie.
Put it on the big TV, watched it. It was great.
Yeah.
It might be great. We'll talk about that next episode. But until then, we're just going to close off the show with a little draft, a little fun draft. So we're going to do best masked characters in movies, 1 to 5. Me and Byron. Byron, I'm going to allow you to go first. All right, I'm going to allow you because you haven't had a draft for a while, so I'm going to allow you to go first.
Don't make me do it to you.
I know, but I'm kind of wanting you to go first because I've got 2 in mind. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'll just get the other one. I'll just get the other one
because I don't mind missing out on this. I wanted to go second because I want the double. I think no matter.
I think we would because it's just 2 of us. We just go back and forth.
Yeah. Okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
I will take purely for this episode, and I'm just in a good mood on Scream. I will take this first. Even though he was one dumb son of a bitch.
I like that. Wow,
and if he is chasing you, you are not fucked. Just run, be somewhat intelligent. Actually, you don't even need to be intelligent. The most average IQ person could get away from this fucker.
Now, are you doing just horror? Because I was doing like...
No.
Okay, good.
I have other characters.
Good, I'm doing Darth Vader.
Not horror.
Darth Vader is my number one.
That was the other one. That was like the one. That was the one. That was the number 1 draft pick.
Yeah.
Outside of horror.
It'd be weird if Vader wasn't on here.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Damn, that's annoying. Okay. I will go. Actually, I might just double up on maybe the. Like I said, there's 3. There's. I mean, there's 5. I'm gonna go Michael Myers. I think him not being in at least the second round is kind of crazy.
No, I like that.
But considering I think he's had the most amount of movies.
Probably.
13.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna praise Scream more. Glad Scream's franchise never overdid it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
6 movies in this from 1996 to 2023.
Fuck.
Good job.
Well done.
And a 7th one probably won't happen.
We'll see. We'll see. It makes money. My second round pick, I'm going Batman. Go Batman. Did you miss Batman? Did you miss?
I thought we were doing villains.
I was no, it was just masked characters. Masked characters.
All right, I'm swapping it up mid fucking thing then.
Mid one.
I would have had Batman. Batman would have probably been my number one.
I was kind of surprised. That's why I was like, "Are you just doing
I
villains?"
could have sworn you said villains. It's alright. I'm going Spider-Man.
Nice. That was my next pick.
It's
So
gonna
fair
be
enough.
It is my favorite. Oh, there we go. He's right there. Right next. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
That's pretty. That's pretty.
They're right next to
That's
each other.
it's meant to be. All right. All right. Cool. Now we get into the nitty gritty. All right.
There's still some massive names.
There's still a lot of fucking
Huge names, actually.
But that is my number 1 to 5 is all gone. Michael Myers, Spider-Man,
Nice.
were on there. So,
Nice.
Well done. I got some other ones that were kind of want to be like a bit fucking.
There's some sneaky ones.
Yeah, there is. There's some incredible masks. Let's go.
Think of outside of horror now. Who did I miss?
Let's go with Jesus. Now I'm like between. There's other horrors that, of course, going to be way more iconic.
Yeah.
But V from V for Vendetta.
Fuck. There's no way. There's
Was that
no
what you're gonna
way. There's no way. How? I thought I was so fucking smart with that pick.
How good is V though?
Yeah. One of the most underrated superhero. It's a very loose term.
Ideas
It's
are
so-
bulletproof.
So good.
So good.
It's so fucking good. It's such a good movie.
Love that movie.
Oh, it's a great pick. Fuck. I'm waiting for another 3 months. Man, that's really good. I'm gonna take. So I want to take one of my favorite characters from probably maybe my favorite franchise.
I know what you're
And
taking.
it's an Australian franchise.
If you don't take it, I'm gonna take it. I'm being completely honest with you right now.
I'm gonna take Mad Max. I'm gonna take Max himself, Max's mask.
What's
the
his
other
name?
one,
Max Stro something.
Max. There's a reason I said Mad Max.
Yeah,
and
let's
not
just call him Mad Max.
Rocks.
Whatever it's called. Yeah, Rockstead, whatever. Or I'm also going to go in the Mad Max. I'm going to go Immortan Joe because
That's the other one I had.
Joe's,
That's the other one I had because I thought we were doing villains, so I didn't put Mad Max. I just put him.
That's fine.
I just put Joe.
Morton Joe's
R.I.P.
mask is
R.I.P.
unfucking believable. Yeah, oh yeah, respect.
I believe the original,
The original
the
one.
one from Fury Road passed, and they recasted him in Furiosa.
Yep, correct.
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct.
They look, by the way, they look exactly the fucking same.
Yeah, because majority of their faces.
Great. Yeah, I know, but
But like the actual stature and everything,
like
for sure.
everything
Yeah,
about them.
that's very true.
Identical.
And then your fifth and final.
Oh, there's so many good ones. I guess I can read them out. The two biggest. I mean, there's 4 massive horror names: Jason Voorhees,
Yep.
Predator,
Yep.
Leatherface,
Yep.
Hannibal Lecter.
Yep.
Those are the 4 huge ones, and then I also have Bane and Green Goblin.
Yep.
I'm gonna go.
Green Goblin's good fun.
I'm gonna go Leatherface because
It's iconic.
Leatherface is in what I think to be the greatest slasher movie of all time.
No, I like that.
The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah, I'll go Leatherface, even though you can escape Leatherface.
He can easily escape
He's a
Leatherface.
fat fuck.
You just
You can
juke
run.
him.
You can run. You can.
He
win.
can't turn. You just juke him a bit, you know? That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, number 5. I love Jason, don't get me wrong. Just doesn't have that great of movies.
I get it.
But
Yeah.
I'm going to go Stanley Ipkiss from The Mask. Jim Carrey's The Mask. Stanley Ipkiss.
It's the reason I've never seen that movie.
It's a fucking great
I
movie.
hate looking at that poster, man. Every time I see that poster, it's like,
Smoking. That's awesome. So to recap, Byron, you had Ghostface, Michael Myers, Spider-Man, Max. I got his name. Max Mad Max, and Leatherface. So it's been a big day.
Yeah, that
And
damn movies are goddamn complicated.
I had Darth Vader, Batman V from V for Vendetta, Immortan Joe, and Stanley Ipkiss from The
This might be one of
Mask.
the rare instances where I lose a draft.
Maybe, maybe. But
Batman. Man.
that's another episode of the More Love, Death, and Movies podcast. Follow us on everything. All the links are in the description. Next week, please do watch Black Christmas as we continue on our month of slashes. This will be the first time I've watched it. Byron loves this film, so this is like one that he's been trying to get me to watch for a while, and I've done it. So find out next week if I think it's shit. But yeah, until then, please just follow us on everything. Follow us along. And I'm Harry, that's Byron. Love, Death, and Movies. See you at the movies.